and I want to talk about this case. This is a very interesting case that I thought might be of interest. This is 30 miles off the coast of Corpus Christi, Texas, on an offshore drilling platform. Now, there's 500 men on it. We're talking about, real muscular blue-collar guys. These guys aren't liars. There's 500 people on this offshore drilling platform. Just to give a sight picture of what we're talking about here. One of these absolutely huge drilling platforms. And this is the report on the sighting. The witness is Jeremy Clark. He's an engineer. There were 250 others that were still awake. The other 250 were asleep below the area. The date on this is December 1997, 30 miles off the coast of Corpus Christi, Texas. And what they heard is this rumbling noise. They saw 25 military helicopters approaching the offshore oil drilling platform, but the noise was not coming from the helicopters, Richard. All of a sudden, these helicopters stop in midair, and then this gigantic, twice the size of a football field, elliptically cigar-shaped craft rises from the ocean, hovers over the helicopters. There's 25 of them. They all stop in midair. And what these people on this offshore oil drilling platform described was a concave section on the bottom of the cigar-shaped craft. It had 4 inverted domes on the bottom surface, and then there was multicolored lights around this thing. And they're watching all this. They can't believe this. This thing departs like it wasn't even there, and then the helicopters fly over this oil platform, and they make no noise whatsoever. So like the military was involved, they had foreknowledge of this. And this was reported by Benfield in the BUFOD website. So I thought, okay, why don't we take everything from this report, see if we can get a drawing of what this actually looks like. And this is what Rudy came up with. Something like this happened in 1997 timeframe. And so we try to incorporate all of the elements here. We've got the helicopters. So there would have been UH-1, CH-47 Chinook helicopters. Something like this happened off of Corpus Christi, Texas. So we want to use this as a template, go to the full color rendering, and this is our full color rendering, Richard.
Yeah, that's actually wonderful. I love this. This is not a case that I knew about or have included in my own study of USOs. I've got about 630 cases at this point, but I don't have this one. I've got a bunch from the Gulf of Mexico, which is a major hotspot of USOs. There's no question in my mind. And in fact, Corpus Christi, South Padre Island, that whole region, I've collected a few cases from that area, exactly where you're discussing, but not this one. I don't know the BUFOD site, so that one kind of slipped by me. I'm going to have to go check that out, and I'm going to want to get all the details of this. But this is quite interesting, very interesting. And there's a bunch of cases of oil.
So, friends, seeing that, it's actually pretty amazing, right? So, there are many of these cases out here of similar stories. There's an earlier story where they have a guy walks into like a government like agent or government like whatever it is, probably a library or something, and he found that they had UFO photos there. I don't think they were meant to be there, but he couldn't take the photos out, so he had to sketch them. And what ends up happening is he's able to sketch them, friends. Now, this is the most amazing part. You see, when he was leaving the little government thing, there was a security guard. And the guy flipped through his book. So he brought a little notebook, but he sketched this picture on the back page, the back cardboard part, right? So when he gave the book to the security guard went through and flipped all the pages. He goes, oh, there's nothing in here. And he handed it back to him. He didn't check the very, very last page. It's actually amazing to see this type of stuff out here. So this is a napkin of this UFO stuff out here. So that was actually the image I was talking about. That was the photo reel place we're talking about. Going through the reels, he came across a photo that depicted a UFO crash retrieval. He used the reader to project the image onto the back of a notepad and trace the outline of the disc. So it's actually fascinating that these things are out here. And I know they're just basically, everyone here is just trying to draw a lot of conclusions and put the pieces of the puzzle together. These symbols were on the UFO. So they were on like the lower lip or something, okay? Symbol detail drawn by Jenny Sheehan, and it was in the upper dome, right? So we don't know what they are. They're not hieroglyphs, but it kind of reminds you of the ancient Egyptian stuff. But yeah, look at that. This is what they are. We don't know what the hell. No one knows what the hell they are. Of course they don't, but this is the thing, man. In one of the photos, friends, there's humans, of course, humans with cameras, and they have all these They have giant cameras around their necks. This is like back in the 80s. And these people, right? You can actually go through it here. I'm going to show it to you now. We'll just watch a bit of this, friends. You can see a bit of it. The people took the photos and they're deciphering the code. So that's why this segment is they're speaking about the US government. They have a team who just try to decipher what the hell this code stuff means, okay? So it's just interesting. Let's have a quick play.
Get pinned down here. So this is kind of our rough sketching, getting the layout of this correct. And this went on for like 3 weeks between Danny, myself, and Rudy, trying to get this perspective down. And we didn't get it right the first time. You can see this is our perspective. That top view is about a 75-degree 80 look down view. The one on the low.
So watch this, it gets closer.
Now we're starting to get closer. This is getting very close. When I sent this to Danny, he said, yep, this is getting very close. We've got the perspective now. So I said, okay, Rudy, we want to seal this in. We'll lock it down in concrete, but I want you to make one change. I want you to take that craft, which is at a 45-degree angle, drop it down about 15 degrees so that we're at 30. And this is, Richard, the final result that we came up with. And when we showed this to Danny, he said, that's about as close as you're going to get until you actually see the real photograph.
First of all, it's beautifully rendered, and wow, I'm just so impressed.
So something out here, Richard, there is a photograph of this, multiple photographs. So somehow we all need to run this to ground and find out where this happened, when this happened, who was involved, and what happened to the craft.
Yeah, we can assume it's probably an American retrieval since it was in a U.S. repository.
So it's very, very common. All of these friends said that there's always U.S. stuff. I showed you the earlier helicopter things. There's these renditions. It's going crazy, right? And even let's jump right through to this one as well. Check this out.
Emerges this absolutely huge triangular shaped UFO that hovers for about a minute and then departs at a very high rate of speed. So I thought, let's get a drawing of what that looks like. And this is what we came up with, Richard. Now this thing, he said that it was larger in size than the Nimitz. The Nimitz is 1,092 feet in length. So this thing is probably like 1,200 feet across, hovering right next to the Nimitz and then takes off.
Did this come out of the water or did it not?
Came out of the water, yes. Came out of the water.
Did he indicate the color of this triangle?
He just said it was a black triangle, silent black triangle, no water dripping off the side.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were ordered to darken ship, again, indicates that there was an intent. The Navy knew what was going on. They had foreknowledge of something going on here. But just the size of this thing, I think, is impressive.
Do you have a theory about the foreknowledge? So we've got 2 cases in a row where we've got U.S. military somehow interacting with these objects. With foreknowledge, I'm going to take a guess and assume that you're not thinking that this is our own technology here. Am I?
I'm neutral on this one.
Neutral. So
we're at the limits of building here. We're talking about huge craft. These have been seen all around the world, right, coming out of the ocean. So
they absolutely have.
This one here. Yeah.
And the triangular ones are almost, in fact, in almost every single case, they're described as black or very, very dark. There's a very high level of consistency with these triangle reports, particularly the ones that are coming out of the oceans or interacting with the ocean somehow. They're all black. So that's one consistency that makes me think these stories are probably true.
So yes, friends, Richard Dolan, so he's in the bottom, he's awesome, man. Friends, Richard Dolan, Dickie Dolan is literally a national treasure. You should go to his YouTube channel. Richard Dolan, he is the greatest UFO researcher ever. He doesn't get too spicy or anything. He researches a lot of things, man. He's been doing this for decades, man. He's such a national gem. Now, he's made a book, a compilation. There are 630 UFOs, but from the sea, reports that he put together. And the one we went through at the beginning, he hadn't even heard of that one. So make that 631. You're telling me 631 people, by the way, there's more than one people that report it. 631 times they're seeing shit. And it's the same thing every time. Come on, man. Just a secret ground. Why isn't it a flying unicorn? Why isn't it a monkey? Right? Why isn't it a jelly bean that comes out? Duh, something's happening. Now, in all these cases, you'll see it very, very often. If you watch the Wire Files or anywhere else, it's just there's always a black helicopter. And so that's why what we're discussing is, how does the US government know there's something going on here? Either it's them themselves or they know. They know. And we know this, friends, from the missing MH370 flight. The government, man, they have satellites literally all over the world. Hundreds of thousands of satellites. I'm not even joking. It's literally thousands of satellites just floating around on Earth. And they have all these points and they can literally just check everything. They can see something. They probably have a way to check these anomalies when something appears when it shouldn't. We don't know what the hell they're checking because, as you saw from one of these, right, in this one, friends, this black triangle that appears from the submarine, right, from underneath the ocean, when it comes out, there's no water dripping on it. Why? It's because it's anti-gravity. So it's got anti-gravity. They have some sort of fuel source, electromagnetism, whatever it is. Okay, they've been able to it just repels anti-gravity, which is, friends, is literally the bee's knees of all the nuke technology. Like, can you just imagine the world chaos that would happen if you had access to a nuke, but it had anti-gravity properties around the nuke? You literally can destroy it. You literally can destroy Earth, and it's very disgusting to think of that. But yeah, you can, because the anti-gravity, everything repels off you. You know, water and everything, these things are going through the ocean, going through the sky, nothing can touch them. So we don't know, right? There's so many out here. People have drawn all of these. You have the famous egg one, the Great Naval Station. I mean, it's just so interesting to go through all of these. I always have these pictures out here. 2 weeks earlier, the primary eyewitness met a sailor in San Diego who told him that a teardrop-shaped UFO was shot down by a guided missile destroyer between Hawaii, friends. That's actually insane. Let's actually have a quick peek.
Here. So this is.
Let's actually have a quick peek at that one. That's actually sound.
Letter to a high-level military brass inside this Quonset-style building. So he's escorted by two muscular CBs. They go down this corridor. They make a left-hand turn. They go into this open area inside this Quonset-style hut. And he said that he saw a teardrop-shaped UFO that was 35 feet across, 12 feet high. It had a ridge going along its section here. There was a blue coronal discharge, and this thing was propped up on a pedestal. He delivers this letter, does an about face, walks out, and gets a good look at this thing, Richard. This was my first pass drawing of what I believe this thing actually looks like. And then I had Rudy do a drawing of it based on the testimony. Now, a couple of other notes from the Leonard Stringfield dictation notes indicate that it wasn't really a platform, but more of a pedestal. So this was our very first pass drawing on this. And then I want to give credit to Joseph Wraith for doing our full color rendering. So something like this appears to have been seen Great Lakes Training Center back in 1973. But the backup on this is 2 weeks prior to this actually happening. This primary eyewitness was at a bar, and he met a sailor who was on a missile destroyer, and he said that something was shot down, was towed to the mainland in 1973 by this missile destroyer, and he gave the exact description of what the primary source had indicated. So we have secondary independent confirmation of this particular craft. Now, he also mentioned, I'm talking about the guy at the bar here, he said that the way they recovered this thing, Richard, is that they used Howard Hughes's Glomar Explorer to pick this thing off the seabed. So my question is, what else did this thing pick up rather than this Russian submarine and this USO?
Yeah,
I have a feeling that this thing picked up multiple things from the bottom of the ocean.
Yes, absolutely. I would agree with you. Yeah, the Glomar's retrieval of a Soviet submarine, that's a very well-known story.
Correct.
And I mean, the range of how deep this can go, it's really quite remarkable. I mean, you're doing a pickup. My knowledge is that it operated, well, it was solely in the Pacific Ocean, I thought. I'm not aware of it being in the Atlantic, but because its retrieval of the Soviet submarine was also Pacific, and this apparently is the Pacific Ocean. So
there you go, friends. Check that out. You know, like all these things they're collecting. Now, I know, man, you hear a lot of these. Think about it, by the way. 631 cases. 631 that were made official reports. You know, a lot of people see stuff. You don't go make an official report. The real case, by the way, it's at least 10 to 1 higher. That means that people have seen these over 6,000 times. It's just that, you know, 1 out of 10 At least, man, that's 1 out of 10. It could be 1 out of 100. It could be 60,000 cases, which is actually true, right? About after 100 times, yeah, we'll go make a report, waste 4 or 5 hours of your time to make a report or whatever. So even those 630 cases, let's say 99% of them are full of crap. That still leaves 6 events where people saw a UFO coming out of the water. It's just out of water, not even the sky, straight out of the water. Amazing. It's amazing. Could be dangerous. We don't know what they are. They've always been here, man. Of course. We're not the zookeepers, man. We're the zoo animals. They're the zookeepers. Whatever they are. Can you pump out crypto bags, Mr. Aliens? Or at least let me peek into what's coming next. Now, all of these friends, what's ultimately leads to. Look, we know it's leading to something. The US government knows a lot. They're like, but you're always wondering, man, where are the photos? Give me one evidence. You always have Neil deGrasse Tyson. Where's the UFO cigarette ashtray? Yeah, man. I mean, you go through all the stories. You just know that if you plan to send any of this info public, you get a bullet between the eyes. It's ruled that you ended your own life. You got Epstein. Okay, that's pretty much what it comes down to. And you can see why, man. Like, imagine if you're American military, what the hell is gonna go through your mind if I said to you, well, China now have anti-gravity tech, and so does Russia, and they can actually put a nuke in this little container and they can just blow it up anywhere. They go, oh, we literally can't save New York or anything else from getting blown up. So you can see why they like that. On the other hand, you have the reports from Lou Elizondo where he says a lot of them are like religious fundamentals and they consider these people the devil. They consider them tricksters and the devil and psyops a lot. But you don't know, man. Are they just playing with them? 'Cause, to be honest, man, if you were in a zoo, you're a monkey, wouldn't you think the zookeepers are the devil? Right? They control so much of you. Here's your sleep time. You have to stay in these parameters. We give you the banana. Stop behaving. You see? Wouldn't you think they're the devil? They can trick you. They do psyops. You see all the people walking by, the tourists, right? Take a picture. They do pokey faces at you. And that's what maybe they're doing to ourselves. But that's why, because we have so much ego, we're like, right. So there's these deeper philosophical things that we think about. Maybe if we can step inside the shoes of others, maybe we can find the answer faster. But until then, we're just a bunch of peanut brains floating on these little blue orb, friends. It's fascinating to see. I think when society rumbles up again, they're going to throw another like UFO HD picture. I know it's coming. And then it's going to be a bit blurry, but a bit higher definition than before, but still blurry enough to make you doubt things. But I guess we'll find out. Like and subscribe. Catch you in the next one.